Now, given that army she just threw at us and given all the arrows we have left, I guess she's not going down without a fight. She's tough. Of course. After all, I don't want to die. Grr. This is weirdly harder than it should be. Something's not right. It's not technique or experience, it's more like she just squirms away whenever it feels like we've got a clear shot. Is that so? I haven't noticed anything like that. I feel the same as Astolfo. I still can't use my sword against her, but I should at least be able to hold her in place. And yet, she always manages to slip away at the last moment. What's going on? Allow me to tell you one of my traits. Now that I'm a servant, no king can kill me. After all, the reason I became a heroic spirit is because I avoided death at a king's hands. Although, strictly speaking, it's only a skill that lets me move around in order to keep kings at bay. Oh crap, are you serious? I guess since I'm a prince, technically it affects me too. So it's not an anti-personnel, but an anti-king skill? Master, the skill is making it easy for her to stall for time. Laputa's the huge landmass is slowly but surely moving this whole time. It's clear the singularity took shape by combining with your noble phantasm. What sort of magical energy could you possibly put together to make that work? How in the world did you manage the resources, the design? He's the one who told me how it would work. I was able to summon servants to an enclosed underground world and have them fight one another. Such an environment would naturally lead to conflict. The more twisted, the better. So I decided to use a conquistador with unabashedly twisted desires as the base of his design. As Columbus said, Agartha is indeed the sort of world he had long wished for. But he could not have guessed that the patron who granted the wish had even more deplorable motives. It doesn't matter how it was all designed. The main goal was getting servants to fight, which means conflict between servants will lead to a vortex of magical energy. On top of that, the enclosed nature of the underground singularity enabled it to trap the vanquished servants' souls, and continuously exploit the energy generated as they attempted to return to the throne. That was the goal. It would then use the abundant energy to slowly make my story into reality. It sounds rather like having a horse turn a cogwheel by dangling a carrot before its nose. He also told me that this could be considered a kind of Holy Grail war. A Holy Grail war that only exists as a twisted story, where no one attempts to seek the Grail. But before I knew it, the Holy Grail had already materialized in the form of a story come to life. Look out, Master! I think she's still trying to stall for time. If Laputa drops onto a major city, she'll have won. Please hurry! Okay then, time to bust out the cliches about how I've been holding back this whole time. I fought alongside all of you, and I know how strong you are. You are indeed powerful enough to kill me if I let my guard down. So from here on, I leave it to you, Phenex. Oh, there it is. Phenex, I am truth. Reunion, one of the 72 Demon God Pillars. Is the Demon God Pillar. Please be careful. Phenex, the demon god of death and rebirth, thought to be identical to the Phoenix known in the West. His number is 37, his rank, Marquis. It's said that his every word is a natural poem. I see. That explains the unusual manner of his speech. As to the quality of his poetry, I shall refrain from voicing my opinions. I'd love to have Watson offer his opinion on it. Not that he is a poet himself, of course. But perhaps hearing what passes for poetry from this creature would inspire him to try his hand at it. I finally understand why I wasn't able to see the demon god lurking behind Castor before. A number of his values are inverted. In other words, numerically speaking, he's already dead. Now I see. We never saw him because we never looked for something that was dead. This may only be a trick unique to the demon god of death and rebirth. But we probably shouldn't count on future demon god pillars being easily detectable either. The reason I am here is to prove my friendship, to accept Castor for who she is. Life and death, unavoidable, self-purpose, life and death, simple death, no rebirth, only acquired by melding with me. Her wish, her dream, not to die, not to live. Found it, answer. The answer. So he wasn't using her at all. Sounds like he actually sympathized with her. You actually understand what the Demon God is saying, Master? More or less. That's amazing. No wonder you're the Master. I didn't have the faintest idea. I may not know what he's saying, but I know what he's attempting. Yep, now that he's not hiding anymore, he's gonna try to do us in personally. Let's do this, Master. Let's show him how he's no different than any sort of the thousands of pillars we whipped before. Our target is Phenex, the 37th Demon God Pillar. Please destroy him, Master. Demon God Pillar appears. Anti-hero. Increase resistance to attacks from king enemies. Okay, how about this? Alright, let's do this. Just start off with a really heavy hitter. Oh dang, that's a lot of HP. I think that one Buster attack did more than her Noble Phantasm. Really? Just instant death. Okay. That's not okay. But guess who's back? I guess his Noble Phantasm strength is still down. I still got that Buster boost. What? What does that say? HP loss after one turn. That's bogus. Alright, King of Conquerors. Even if he does have King Resist, do your thing. Not great damage. Not terrible. Oh, resist don't matter. The King of Conquerors cares not. That's a lot of HP. Alright, you got my Merlins, but... you're not finishing this turn. Oh, hey, Astolfo. Yeah, Astolfo, you get the finishing blow. Get wrecked. You're still here?
かくしてアストルフは去るのであった。
Ugh. Fergus! But I'm not the only one. Sorrow? Doubt? Are we evil? No, no, no. We are nature. As such, we must be of one mind, one body. Castor equals Phenex. Our wish, not to die while alive. Our fate, to be reborn once dead. Compulsion, our existence. Contradiction, our wish, never to be granted. We are both slaves to our wish. But, if all living things wish not to die, if we live forever without being stripped of that, then it is not a wish, it is a curse. We cannot help but want to break it. Did we get him? Demon God Pillar signal is gone, but... Huh? Master, I'm picking up a faint servant ringing nearby. Please be careful. Castor. Okay, well, she's almost dead. Phenex, you're the only one to ever understand me. But... Nothing has changed. The ending has already been written. After all, Laputa has already materialized. Even if the demon god vanishes or I die, it will still plummet to Earth. Not a story, but a reality. Parts of it may be damaged, but that doesn't matter. It should retain its form until impact. There's nothing anyone can do to stop it. This is the final chapter for all of you, and for me. At last, my wish will come true. Okay, the next one has no battles, so let's just mosey on. Yeah, it looks like this is it. But if I just disappeared now, I truly would be pathetic. Fergus, your wound is too deep. Stay down. No, it's okay. Young and weak as I am, I knew there was no way to escape grievous injury while trying to battle a Demon God Pillar. But this time my experience won out. Thanks to the training I've undergone in Agartha, I was able to escape with my life, though only barely. That said, I don't have much time, so before I go, I'd like to talk to Castor. But your spirit origin is just barely holding together, and besides, nothing you do about her will stop Laputa. I think he's got something in mind. The young, wounded warrior, the powerless, hapless, half-baked child who never truly had a role to play in this story. You can't stop this. You simply cannot. Even if you sully your innocent hands by ending my life now, Laputa will not be erased. You're wrong, Castor. What I'm going to erase is your fear of death. You are a strong woman. You may have had the Demon God Pillar's help, but you still planned, constructed, and created this story. More than that, you never gave us the slightest hint that you were, even though we were right by your side. You were nothing if not resilient. And not just you. Every woman we met here in Agartha was strong. Dahut, Wuzitian, Berserker, the Pirates of East, the subjects of the Nightless City, the Amazons of El Dorado. They were all strong in their own ways. Thanks to that, I see now just how narrow-minded I used to be. How foolish it was to think that women were nothing but chaste, dainty creatures that only were fit for sewing. That they could never be valiant opponents against whom to draw my sword. What is your point? Are you saying that now you know how strong women are, you're ready to kill one yourself? I told you, even if you kill me. No, it's not that. My point is that I believe I eventually realized that when I was alive as well. That version of me met, saw, spoke to, and did battle with strong women. I can even remember some names, though only faintly. Maeve of Connaught, Skathaha, the Queen of the Land of Shadows, Aif, the ferocious as a wild dog, Daedra, who fiercely fought her awful fate, Ness, who offered up her body so her child could be king. No doubt I met these women after I was fully formed. But even before I met them, there must have been other similarly strong women as well. That's what caused me to realize how men and women ought to be. I don't understand what you're talking about. There's no point in bringing up your past. Yes, there is. If I'm going to stop you, I need to tell you about myself, about how greedy I was. Greedy? Really? You've been all stoic and earnest and a real nut for training all this time. I mean, I mean that I was greedy for a king. I wanted it all, so I had no choice but to train. It was a sign of my desire and my anxiety. The same with my greed. Mash, do you remember what you told me before? You said that no matter what else may happen, as long as you remain yourself, you'll become who you're meant to be. I did? Yes, maybe I did. That's exactly what I'm talking about. In the same way that I came to realize how strong women are. The time I spent here in Agartha merely let me experience things I would eventually learn anyway. Some women loved to plunder, some were bound by social norms, some simply obeyed their leaders. What's more, every one of them lived happily here in their own way. They all had strong points and shortcomings. I'm a simple man at heart, so I wanted to resolve that complexity. I wanted to know if it was possible to lead a nation in a way that everyone could accept. As I said before, I'm greedy. I couldn't stand the idea of everyone not being happy. So as I learned more about Agartha, I kept thinking and thinking and thinking. And in the end, I realized something I should have known all along. What's that? The truth is, I'm not cut out to be a king. Huh? After all that build-up, that is all you wanted to say? Of course not. There's more to it than that. To make a long story short, I realized this morning that I don't measure up. To put it bluntly, I just don't have what it takes to be a king. You all saw that much sooner than I did, but I finally see it for myself now. Thank you all for being kind enough not to say anything. Do your best to stay quiet with a straight face. I never did become a king, or rather, I didn't stay one for very long. True, according to legend, you agreed to step down from the throne for a year and pass it on to your lover's child from a previous marriage. But after the year had passed, your subjects still wanted your lover's child to continue ruling. So you gracefully stepped aside and became a mere warrior. Or so the legend goes. Haha, gracefully, huh? That's a nice way to put it, but I doubt I had any other choice. By that time, I was sure I realized what I know now. That I didn't have what it takes to be king. That I was so greedy that it would be wrong for me to pursue that greed from the throne. And that fulfilling it as an ordinary man was the right thing to do. In other words, I learned that I was only really suited for cherishing the things I love. And what are those? Fighting and women, of course. Senpai? Senpai, you're starting to sound more like the usual Fergus. I know, Mash, but let's not bring that up now. Incidentally, Da Vinci had it backwards. I gave, how do you pronounce that? Concobar the throne so that I could take Ness as my lover. Essentially, I sold my crown all because I wanted a woman's body. Pretty despicable of me, isn't it? Once again, where are you going with this? I never heard such an incoherent story in all my life. Really? I was hoping you would give me some leeway on since I'm a warrior rather than a storyteller, but alright, I'll get to the point. Basically, I learned about the strength that women possess. I learned that they are equals, in many ways rivals, and are worth devoting my life to pursuing. What about you, caster? What do you mean? Let me ask you about Agartha. You created so that women would be the dominant gender. Why? I already told you. I used Columbus's desire as the base for... Are you sure about that? Columbus's desire was to get rich by selling slaves. There's no reason those slaves had to be women. As far as he was concerned, the fact that Agartha was full of women was simply icing on the cake. He would have been perfectly happy and acted the same even if it had been dominated by men. If you had made this world in line with his desire, it could have just as easily been a world ruled by oppressive kings rather than queens. But instead, you went out of your way to make it ruled by women. Why? I'm not... I see. So you did it unconsciously, without understanding why. My guess is, you did that because you inherently fear men. You see them as being inextricably linked with your own death. That's why you wanted to keep them under control, and treat them as livestock rather than people. Based on what you told us before, it was clearly the king who instilled that fear in you. He was truly a terrible person, making you endure such torment for 1,000 nights. He was not fit to be king, just as I, though for different reasons. Be that as it may, what does it matter? That's why I have to tell you that you're wrong. Now that I've realized the connection between me, the Fergus Macrioche who wanted to be a good king, and the Fergus Macrioche who knows how men and women ought to be, I have to make sure that you understand the truth that I've grasped. A Celtic truth? You need men and women to make children. Blah. A very sound conclusion. What a profoundly mundane truism. What are you talking about? That's just common sense. Yes, it is, and yet you don't seem to grasp it. Yes, men can and do bring about death, but it's ridiculous to think of them only in that way. There's much more an important role that men and women both share. It's about something you should have been thinking about long before you thought about dying or being killed. No, I don't get it. I don't understand. To begin with, how I think about death or men is none of your business. And even if you do erase my fear of death, there's still nothing you could do to stop Laputa. That's... Indeed, Laputa will not stop. It will only continue on its path towards the destruction of fantasy. Huh? Well, that's kind of a weird way to leave off right there. But I think what he was saying is the way that it erases her fear of death is that men and women are needed to create children. I think what he means is that men and women create life, which is the opposite of death. I think that's what he's getting at.